We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Was that the bottom? Was that despair in altcoins and Ethereum or another bull trap? Find out in just a moment. If you need a roadmap of crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, please hit the like button. Okay, let's welcome who's here. We have Yob first on the stream, Huber's Ranch, Katya, Mahet, Alexandra, welcome. Roby, Rag777, Riyadh, hello. Zepedas, Arrow, Vanessa, happy Monday. Taz Pinball, Tyson S, Miguel, Revos, and one, good morning. CL Sim, Old Smoky. What's going on? Welcome to the show. Okay. Good morning to all the free people in the world. European police conduct raid on a house for citizen posting a meme on social media. Of course, we don't know what that meme was about, but this is a public service announcement that cryptocurrency is the currency for the people. I got that from John McAfee. They can't print Bitcoin. Even though BlackRock's got its paws all over it, it's still the currency for the people, and it needs to be. So starting off your Monday with something serious, but you got to think of it this way. A sovereign person is a happy person. Even if you have to deal with volatility, it's like, what's the price of sovereignty? Volatility, right? Sovereignty isn't free because if you just sit around, that makes you a sheep, and we don't do sheep on this show. We do sheepdog, protecting you from the wolves. Okay, here we are with MicroStrategy marketing or strategy. We are the first and largest Bitcoin treasury company, the largest independent publicly traded business intelligence business. Oh, I like the sound of that. Okay. Their marketing is probably going to help them because I think more and more and more as we get more and more and more DOGE, or we get information that Fort Knox is empty or whatever, right? Zero Hedge got that going over the weekend where everybody was like, hey, where's all the gold? Again, they start popping the hood on gold. They start popping the hood on Social Security. They start popping the hood on the Fed. You know, this is going to go from being, hey, look, I'm wearing a Doge t-shirt to, oh my God, I have fiat and I don't want it anymore. And a lot of these big institutions that are buying all the MicroStrategy products, right? There's the common stock that's MSTR. There's the preferred shares, which is the stuff that he issued, you know, these complex financial instruments that he issued to borrow money for Bitcoin. The guy means business. The guy has conviction, and the guy is doing it despite the cringe. And of course, even if there is cringe, where has Bitcoin gone? Nowhere, right? People may be waiting for 86K. You know, I got a guy I respect thinking 86K. You know, that may not be until later, if at all, especially in Bitcoin. It's like, I don't know how they get Bitcoin down unless you have some kind of massive disappointment trade with Uncle Sugar and Trump on strategic Bitcoin reserve. Okay, El Salvador just continues to buy. Why wouldn't they? It's working, right? JP Morgan Asset Management gets $100 million in MicroStrategy shares, despite the fact that every fundamental analyst knows, based on spreadsheets, that MicroStrategy is overvalued relative to the Bitcoin that it holds. Now, the reason for that is because a lot of these big entities aren't allowed to hold either Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETF, or related products. So the only way to get Bitcoin exposure is to buy MicroStrategy or any related products. This includes asset management firms, pension funds, state retirement funds, etc. I mean, these entities are huge, huge, and collectively worldwide, it's in the tens of trillions, right? In other words, we all know that Social Security may have a problem. The fact that there isn't enough gold bars for everybody who has a paper receipt that says they have a gold bar, this is all known, right? The question is, when is it going to be traded? It doesn't matter until it matters. That's why people are going after MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. And it's one of the reasons, though, even though you have to manage risk, they tried to push you out over the weekend. I mean, this weekend could have been max despair in altcoins as it just like melted down. We'll go over some stats over Ethereum that were just breathtaking to the point where I don't know how it could get any worse, hence the 4% rally today. Okay, multiple U.S. states are gearing up to buy Bitcoin. This is going to be all 50 states, maybe excluding California and New York. Who knows? Okay. They're going to do the strategic Bitcoin reserve at the state and corporate level first. Okay. And they're going to have to make major announcements at some point because, you could really feel the discontent over the weekend, right? The honeymoon is over. People's crypto bags have crashed. And crypto was the first, normally not political group to turn towards Trump. They can't afford to have anybody turn away from Trump, especially since Elon is about to get into the ugly that's out there. Okay, BlackRock now holds 587,000 Bitcoin. Okay, I kind of wish that wasn't true. I wish it wasn't true. Remember, cryptocurrency is for the people. Cryptocurrency is for the people. Now, the fact that the people and institutions can get their hands on a Bitcoin ETF, obviously, I guess that's a net good thing. It's either a good thing for Bitcoin or it's a good thing for everything else but Bitcoin or anything that's not in an ETF or that soon will be. Like XRP, like Solana, and, they're holding on to this Litecoin and DOGE idea. I think it's got to be XRP and it's got to be Solana, especially after the phone gets released. Okay, so the Biden final inflation number comes in at 5.7%. The Fed is out of ammo, right? The media says blah, 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 blah. Inflation is bad and they spit on you on the way out. The big question is, what are you going to do to protect yourself from this if you can, right? The answer is simple. It's try to hold on to whatever bag you have that is for the future, right? Don't own the old news. Own what's next. And, I know no one wants to hear this, but, Ethereum could be part of what's next. Okay, so one of those weekends, Charles Hodgkins resorting to nicotine. One of those weekends where all coins just totally melt down. And I'm like, oh my God, this has got to be some kind of bottom, right? Everybody will start worrying about NVIDIA in like 2 or 3 days. And sometimes crypto goes up in the face of legacy worry. Let's hope that's true. And let's definitely hope crypto goes up after, right? We need 2 up weeks. We need at least 2 up weeks to unwind some of this damage so people can reevaluate. This is unbelievable. BonkBot flips Ethereum in 24-hour revenue. This is either the apocalypse or a bottom, right? I think that's why it's up 4% today. I don't know if the news can get any worse. The 24-hour revenue for Ethereum drops below 250K. Like, I don't even know what Zebu is. So, this chain is like completely dead, and it's either dead for a reason or, it's ripe for somebody to come in and make some kind of announcement, because I can't believe you can look at what's going on with government finances and come to the conclusion that we don't need a different form of money. Matter of fact, in some ways, the administration is showing you by letting Elon just run through everything that there's so much phony baloney. At some point, you have to start questioning the currency. You have to, right? In other words, is this actually real? Now, I know that, the, the, the dollar is better than the euro for a couple different reasons. The ECB may be printing the euro again to levitate German stocks. German stocks look like altcoins. There, it's up only. So I don't know if the dollar can go down, but it's at some point with DOGE, we'll go into it in a second. You got to start asking yourself, fiat in general, do we want this? Arthur Hayes said this, like all fiat, right? Okay, so Binance getting it going. Can XRP flip Ethereum? So XRP has now got real world asset applications running on XRP Ledger, thanks to Ondo. Okay, back in the day, in the heyday of crypto, you'd have XRP and Ethereum flipping each other on the market cap chart. Part of me thinks that, if XRP leverages this American-made brand right, which is a very big if they do it and they execute, yeah, they can catch up to Ethereum. On the other hand, what's the catalyst for XRP to go to $5? Well, it would have to be some big bank using either XRP or Ethereum as a DeFi mechanism. In other words, I can't believe that all these banks are going to sit around and watch what's going on with DOGE or watch what's undoubtedly going to happen in Virginia real estate or just in that area in general with all these sort of like, I don't know, I'm calling them like mob justice layoffs, right? We're going to lay people off just to show how much power we have. I get it. But, that many people being unemployed in that concentrated of an area, either brings in the Fed, creates a problem with banks, or creates a need for DeFi, or all three, right? This whole thing about, Biden's inflation number is high and the Fed's hands are tied. Listen, the Fed's going to be bailing out banks in 6 to 9 months, particularly if they just keep laying people off. Because you know what? If the government's doing it, this is another thing you have to kind of remember. And it's, somewhat unfortunate for humanity, but incredibly bullish for crypto, is if the government is laying off people in 20,000, chunks, 20,000 people chunks, corporations can do 1 to 2,000 without even getting noticed. Okay. How do you protect yourself? Again, you got to be a sovereign individual. You just have to be, right? You got to be a sovereign individual, and you got to be a sovereign, happy individual. And who's happier than XRP fans? And frankly, who would be happier than Ethereum fans if Ethereum woke up? Because if you wonder why there's no alt season and altcoins go up for 6 weeks and down for 6 weeks, it's because Ethereum is dead right now, right? But Ethereum may not be dead if some big bank comes in. Ripple partners with Ondo to tokenize U.S. treasuries on the XRP ledger. This is real institutional adoption. Okay. So if XRP ledger ever had a bank running on it, right, which would mean World Liberty would have to get involved, which would mean the U.S. government would have to get involved. Everybody thought Brad Garlinghouse being at all the functions around the inauguration, you would have figured somebody would have uttered XRP. Now, the reason that I think that didn't happen is because you've got all these competing tribes. Like the guy from Cardano said, well, it can't be XRP. It's got to be me. I was here first. And Trump's got no patience for the crypto squabbling. So he's like, let's have summits. And I can't decide whether these summits that he wants to have instead of an official crypto committee is bullish or bearish. Like on one hand, opening it up and creating a bunch of exposure for crypto can be constructive. On the other hand, if people can't get their act together, right, and everybody's fighting with each other, then it feels like, the default may wind up being ETH, XRP, or Cardano. And you could throw in Solana as well, but even that may be too many to choose from. It's too many to choose from. So I think the winner may wind up being determined by the private sector, not by the government, right? Because I think one of the reasons, again, why altcoins continue to just bleed out. Today is a good day, but the reason that they just generally suck is there's no leadership. Like XRP and Bitcoin were leading. So if they could go back to that, awesome. $725 billion asset manager says U.S. could sell some of its gold reserve to purchase Bitcoin. Okay, so I talked about a while ago that this is just not a good idea. It's not a good idea, and we don't know. The reason the U.S. government can't sell its gold is assuming the U.S. government has the gold it says it has. Big assumption. Assuming it has the gold it says it has, the Fed may have to use some of that gold to bail out the private sector. Because if gold deliveries continue to increase, like there was panic in New York 2 weeks ago, right? So, the private sector may need to borrow that gold or buy that gold directly from the Fed to meet private sector demand. So the U.S. government is not selling gold to buy Bitcoin. The U.S. government is selling gold to bail out banks from some sort of like default in the gold market. However, of course, it's a controversial headline that does get everyone's attention. And really what I think Bernstein is actually trying to say is it would be a good idea if the government got off its duff, right, and started coming up with a plan about crypto. I mean, how can you have Elon running through the government, finding every little thing that's wrong, and we can't come out, the crypto aside, we can't come out with like one announcement despite the number of guys we got involved. In other words, not only is Elon hogging up the news flow, right, but, Elon is hogging up the idea, or he's like showing everyone else up. He's showing up the crypto community. It's like, hey, that's inside the administration. It's like, look, dude, I mean, are you guys ceremonial or are you guys here? Like, I understand it's not the government's job to pump our bags. It's the market's job to pump our bags. But I think the reason people got all pumped up was because they were talking about investing in Web3 infrastructure. Like the government and the private sector can invest in Web3 now when they want to, or something can happen and they can invest in Web3 when they have to. Just the question is what happens to your bags in the meantime? Okay, so this is all popular now. The Fed debt clock, or the U.S. debt clock. I don't know. I think Elon has a little area of this somewhere. It's amazing how much we now care about this when we didn't care about it for 4 years, right? So, Elon can cut a couple $100 billion. We're doing $1 trillion every 100 days. Again, this absolutely has to be a component of why fiat is just no good there. Oh yeah, here's the DOGE clock up here at 105 billion. So the DOGE clock is running, and here's Uncle Sugar up here. God bless him for trying. Department of Government Efficiency. The Treasury processed 116 million paper checks. 25 billion in tax refunds were delayed or lost due to lost, returned, or expired checks. Believe it or not, I actually just got one of those checks from 2020. I didn't even know it was coming due. I got a letter from the Treasury, from the government that said, your check was returned, or your check can't be cashed because it's 4 years old. We'll send you a new check. I had to call them up. The first person I called answered the phone, but said, I can't help you because my systems are down. Yet she still's answering the phone. That's interesting. Then she transferred me to somebody who took my information down, and she said 4 to 6 weeks for the check. We got to be able to do something better than that, obviously, right? Elon Musk DOGE saved American taxpayers its first $100 billion of the Trump administration. It's no wonder people are giving up and selling if this is the big headline. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it feels like it's like the Elon Musk show. Like the left is whining because, their sugar party is over. Everyone else may be like, you know, I understand that, getting after some of this stuff is good, but, you know, what about everything else that we were promised? Now, of course, it's also possible that there's some serious stuff going on and Elon and his clock are a big distraction. That's possible, but that doesn't make me want to hold fiat anymore. Okay. DOGE is looking for help from the general public to find more wasteful government spending. Okay. So we now have all these DOGE Twitter feeds, which, algos will all turn into meme coins if they haven't already. I understand the DOGE Social Security website or Twitter feed became a meme coin. Like I said, unfortunately, crypto has like an inbred stupid switch, which I wish we would stop pushing. Please stop it. Like I'm trying to live with the cringe. I can't find, is this it here? Right. DOGE Social Security. 25,000 followers. Everybody wants to see the big fraud that's out there or whatever it is. You better ask yourself, do you really want to see it? You're going to see it, but do you want to? Now, if you're in crypto, I think you do, because there's going to be a moment here where everybody goes, oh my God, what is happening here? Politically, Trump can blame prior administrations, but once people figure out that fiat may not be a good idea, and these German elections, man, they matter. If that right-wing party, I'm assuming if it doesn't win that election and you have Germany pivoting to the left the way England did, I mean, I don't know what the deal is over there. Feel free to comment, put it in the comments or put it in the chat. This macro stuff matters. You are going to want to be a sovereign individual. Okay. According to the Social Security number, the database, the numbers of people in each age bucket with death field set to false. I don't know. So dead people are getting checks. 5 million people over 140 years old are still getting checks. Again, when these numbers get bigger or they go into Fort Knox, it's like I always say at Wall Street, not me, at Wall Street, where there's one roach, there's a million. So if they got a roach in Social Security, they got a roach in Fort Knox. What's going on at the Fed and the Treasury? We heard all about it for like a week and then everybody shut up. That's not an accident. Okay, storage is one of the top performing crypto sectors, according to Lunar Crush, in terms of social mentions. So one thing that would be nice is if people did discover that there is a tech aspect to crypto that has undoubtedly been destroyed, right? Like first AI was worth $1 trillion. AI in crypto was worth trillions. Then AI agent winter hit and now it's worth 0. And as one guy on Twitter said, reality's got to be somewhere in the middle, right? It's got to be. Filecoin is a big multi-coin capital play. So, the future of tech infrastructure, well, I don't know. The future of decentralized tech infrastructure, I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know. Maybe it's another DeepSeek or it's some AI introducing itself as like sentient or quasi-sentient. But, I know this stuff's coming back. I know this stuff's going to appear. Just the question is, does anybody have any patience to deal with the volatility, right? Okay. So, my friend, check out antivirus. Let's take back the cyberpunk vision in crypto. That's the answer to which coins are on your radar this week. So whether you're into Ski Mask Dog or antivirus, the big question is, what do you believe in? What do you believe in? Right? These are the questions you have to ask yourself when your bags stink. Okay. So let's have a look at what's going on in the market today. TA wise. Okay. Algorand, right? So we talked about this last week. Algorand sitting on key support, right? Right below the 62% retracement. And the big question is, will they use Algorand to start tokenizing gold to keep track of what's going on? Because I know Algorand, I saw headlines, they can do this. Now, this is really interesting. And it's tough in crypto because if the rest of the market is no good, there will be plays that go up. I'm tempted to stick with American made and maybe in DeFi. If you can find the right play, it could just be hyperliquid. Right? It could be. Okay, now let's talk about ETH. So you have a nice 9 bottom in ETH, and that's lovely, right? That's nice because you had a 9 bottom over here, right? Back in September. This is a weekly chart. And then ETH consolidated, and we eventually had a nice pop off the election, which, of course, was summarily unwound because, Vitalik was caught wearing like a winter bunny hat with braids, and they can't seem to get anything going on that chain whatsoever. It's like they've given up. Or they're waiting for some giant bank to come in. I don't think anybody's waiting for a giant bank to come in because people are assuming it's dead. Now, what would be super helpful for ETH, to be honest with you, is if this just turned into something steady or something sideways. I can definitely live with sideways, right? What I cannot live with is way up and way down. Some parts of the market have not been responsive to TA lately. Okay. I don't want to see all the way up, all the way down. Do not want to see any type of failed rally off NVIDIA or anything like that. Sideways, I would take. Sideways, I would take, hoping ETH wakes up or some other layer one wakes up. Okay, so Bitcoin, let's go to a 4-hour chart. Just take a look at what's going on, if anything. So this is life in crypto, right? We go from 95 to 98. Oh my God, what a huge move. Get a 9 top. Then we go test 95. We get a 9 bottom. And this is what we're doing now. We're like, we've got our like microscope out and we're like, okay, well, the range is 95 to 97 until it isn't. Okay. Personally, I think BlackRock and friends destroyed all coins to get everybody out and bearish, and then they're going to go after Bitcoin. Because I just cannot believe all this DOGE news does not equal a different form of money. I just can't believe it, right? Especially if there's like some sort of shocker in the gold sector, right? I mean, we didn't look at gold. We can look at XRP. Okay, so XRP has been outperforming, and XRP has the 9 top. So here's what you want to see from XRP before we get into gold. You want to see XRP slump and then come straight back. If XRP went down and then came straight back, that's giga bullish, right? Now, if not, then, it's just a boring range. Okay, so we don't want to see a failed rally in ETH, and we would love to see, I guess, a failed dip or a dip that gets gobbled up, right, in XRP. Okay, so gold on a weekly chart went up and came off right at a key DeMark point to the extent that that matters. So you had kind of a blow off top in gold last week, right? And then it came off. Now, I don't know what it's going to do now, but, I mean, the bid should switch to Bitcoin, or if gold does go up, right? Again, we're at the point where Bitcoin just has to go with it. It just has to. Okay. Okay. Stefan says, looks like Germany going to have a big right shift. I will be in Germany in 1.5 weeks for voting. Okay. So I guess one of the big things you have to ask yourself about Germany is, will that create a bid for the euro, or will that be sell the fact? Here's the dollar index, which people used to care about like obsessively in crypto, by the way. I mean, it's obsessively. Okay, so if we look at the daily chart of the dollar index, I mean, this seems clear. And it's really hard to see how this is not bullish for the whole ecosystem, right? Still a lot of room to get back to like equilibrium in the 200-day moving average. You know, the target of this pattern in the dollar is below the 200-day moving average at 104. And I guess the only way that happens, honestly, is if people come in and buy the euro, right? Not to mention, there's this whole idea of gold up, dollar down. I mean, that's how it's really supposed to be working, right? If gold is rising, the dollar should be falling, right? I mean, that is the way it's supposed to work. And this whole idea of buy the dollar just because the orange man is popular, that's ludicrous. And I thought that a long time ago. Now, is the U.S. going to be this like ever dominant superpower over everybody? And yeah, well, in order to do that, they're going to have to print. It's just going to be a different form of printing. It's going to be the government subsidizing banks and telling banks to go out and loan money to anybody who wants to build in America, which was the Chinese model back in 2000. So, I mean, if you think that Elon means they're not going to print, you're out of your mind. All it means they're going to print in a different way. The Fed's going to pump money into the market to save their job, assuming they're still around. I'm assuming they will be, right? The Fed's going to push money into the market. Even if they don't, even if the Fed is completely neutral, disappears, doesn't do anything, rates, inflation, and money printing is actually done now at the fiscal level, meaning all that matters really, because of the level of debt that we have, is how much the government is spending. Right? It's called fiscal dominance. So everyone's like, oh, the Fed, this, that. Pfft. That's old news and old thinking. Is the government spending money, and what are they spending money on? Okay. And if they push a bunch of dollars into the system, dollar has to go lower, right? Does the euro have a bid? Can the euro do the head and shoulders bottom thing, right? It's the inverse of the dollar index. Man, I kind of hope so. Because I'm just so sick of like the dollar being so strong. I mean, can you imagine where Bitcoin would be if the dollar was just engaged in a moderate trend lower, just in an orderly slump? God, it would be at 120K or higher. So, I mean, we're relying on our friends in Europe. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Okay, ETH on Lux Algo. Let's go. What do we got? Okay, so he didn't get every bottoming signal in the world in ETH, which is a shame. Okay, on this last down move, but that wick was insane, right? It was insane. There's a lot of resistance at 3,000. Okay, ETH probably will be the flavor of today, probably just because people are just so shorted, right? ETH versus Bitcoin after like total give up trade. The bottom supposedly was in January, and then they just heaved it. So ETH versus Bitcoin is breaking out on Lux Algo, like it's breaking a trend line. That looks pretty good, right? That looks pretty good. You know, hopefully it lasts more than one day. If you look at DeFi perp, right? This is like DeFi in general. Okay. You got upside in DeFi from 820 to 980 just as a sector, because they have completely destroyed this market. They just destroyed it, right? I mean, the only thing, Ondo has not moved yet, and I'm still very interested in what happens at the apex of this triangle. Okay. Maybe Ondo is not moving today because it's over-owned, right? It looks like everything else in the market is just absolutely sold out. That's why it's going up. Okay. This coin, Ohm, has been leading. You know, I thought it would stop at 6 and it stopped at 8. Okay. Arrow just you know, the thing you can say about this and about base, God, a FIFA that woke up, is that it's breaking a trend line by going sideways, and everybody completely and totally gave up on this, right? You can see it right here. And I mean, in some ways, I don't blame people for just packing it in. They're just tired of it. But of course, that's when you get some kind of bottom, right? That's when you get some sort of reversal, when somebody comes in and goes, hey, maybe this is so overdone. Maybe the last person got out of the pool. Okay. So the best time to do altcoin charts most likely will be in the next 3 days, right? In other words, saying, okay, you know, some stuff died and what actually came back, and start looking at what's rallying. Because now the election euphoria, you know, we had euphoria and we had a crash. Now it's like we're starting over again. Okay. So we will be on this over the next, okay. We will get on this on Thursday. This is the last stream until Thursday of next week. Remember, it's important to be a sovereign, happy individual. Do what you can in the crypto market to drive yourself in that direction. We will see you on Thursday.